Monarch. Legacy of Monsters. In 1973 on Skull Island, a group of scientists escorted by the army discovered that besides a giant monkey, there were enormous creatures inhabiting the island. Researcher William hand-recorded a video for his friend stating that what he had discovered there would change the world. However, William was running from a giant spider, reaching the beach and tossing his recordings and research into the water as death was inevitable. Nevertheless, disguised as stone, a huge crab emerged from the ground and began to confront the spider, unleashing a fierce battle until both creatures fell into the water, leaving William even more astonished. His briefcase traveled through the sea for 40 years. And in 2013, on a fishing boat in Japan, they ended up finding his briefcase. In the present day, we meet Cate, who was reviewing her father's apartment contract in Tokyo. As soon as the plane landed in Japan, a team would decontaminate the passengers with a gas against diseases. And this reminded her of the terror she experienced when giant monsters invaded the United States. She had these memories very fresh in her mind, and the reason for the trip was a family matter. Her father had recently passed away and left an apartment for her. However, after the kaijus appeared in the world, many things changed as many people profited from the tragedies. Upon arriving at her father's apartment, her mother called to check if she had entered or not. Nervously, she hung up the phone. Upon entering, she was very confused by the photo she saw. A woman appeared frightened by her presence, speaking only Japanese. Then a boy appeared. He asked what she wanted. She said that the man in the photo was her father. Discovering at that moment that her father had a family in Tokyo and another one in the United States. Flashback to Kazakhstan in 1959, where Ku and her husband Billy. Scientists are with the soldier Lee going to study a highly radioactive site in the country. Lee was there to protect the scientists in the area, which was so dangerous that they needed to wear protective masks. Although the contamination area required much more than just masks. There, they encountered an armed boy who was hunting rabbits. They tried to explain that the area was dangerous and that the rabbit he hunted could be contaminated. But the boy said that these were just tales to scare away the curious, as the government had opened a hole in the earth that led to hell and wanted to hide it, and he would show them. And as they went to the location, they discovered a huge crater. Strangely, the radiation meter is showing that the area had no contamination at all, and what the boy said was true. Somehow, the government wanted to hide that area. Back in Tokyo, Cate was sitting in front of her father's other family. Kentaro, her brother, had doubts about her. He asked for proof, and she showed some photos of her father when he stayed at home on weekends. It seemed that during the week, he came to stay with the other family in Japan, and this lasted for 30 years. Cate wanted to know which of the women he betrayed first. When Kentaro asked what she wanted, his mother questioned that Hiroshi disappeared out of nowhere. Cate was speechless. Walked away, leaving the keys behind. Back in Kazakhstan, the scientists began to investigate the site. Everyone had disappeared from the base. For sure they had probably been devoured by something, so they set up some bombs to study the seismology of the area. As soon as Shaw generated the simultaneous explosions, they discovered that the bedrock beneath them was hollow, as if something were down there. For the scientist, it was pure joy. But suddenly, everything started to shake, and the buildings collapsed, proving that something had moved beneath them. Ku said that was the right place. Meanwhile, Cate was somewhat distraught by what she discovered. It seems that her mother already knew about this other family, and suddenly, the call was interrupted by an alarm system that was triggered in the city. It was the protocol in case Godzilla appeared in Japan again. The Japanese were already more prepared than the Americans for the invasion system. Kentaro asked if Hiroshi was with her when Godzilla attacked San Francisco, and Cate replied that he was not. In fact, she was a teacher, and was on the bus with students. When the strong earthquake happens, she was thrown out of the vehicle, and the kaiju itself roared right beside her when it was hit by the missiles. She helped the children from the bus, but unfortunately debris from the bridge ended up hitting the bus, causing it to fall from the bridge and killing everyone inside. This made her lose control at the station. She wanted to leave but was interrupted by her father's other woman, who helped her calm down. Meanwhile, in Kazakhstan, the scientists investigate the structure below the ground, which was full of kaiju eggs. For Billy, it was a new species and they needed to collect samples. Lau found it extremely dangerous. But Ku would go anyway and needed 5 minutes for that, so Lau decided to go down with her even though it was extremely risky. Back in Tokyo, the Kaiju alert announcement was lifted. There was no more danger, and they could go back to their lives. However, Kentaro and his mother offered Cate to have coffee to talk about life, but Cate didn't want to know about the woman with whom her father betrayed her mother. However, for Kentaro he also had the same impression, so he took her to the office. Where for him, his father only developed software for satellites. But Cate knew he was hiding something in behind a very strange map of notes. There was a safe that Kentaro didn't even know existed. She then tried Kentaro's and his mother's birth dates, but nothing worked. Until she crossed all 4 dates together and it worked. Inside was exactly that Monarch backpack from William Honda, and Cate made a deal to leave Kentaro's life if she helped him see what was in those recordings. The boy then went to May. As a hacker, May easily bypassed the old encrypted data and began to explore the file. However, this information was sent directly to Monarch and an alert reached Collins. She then went to her Monarch supervisor and said that the data sector had found it coming. Tim told a girl that he would take care of it. Back in Tokyo, May showed that within those tapes there was a lot of information about Monarch, and it was the same map that was in their father's office. Kentaro was still doubtful about Cate, especially because she concealed that she knew how to speak Japanese learned from her father. In 2014, a few days after Godzilla attack, Cate went to find her father at a camp. She saw him for the last time as he left tickets to Reno for her and her mother, but couldn't stay as he needed to return to Japan. Despite being upset, Cate couldn't stop him, and a week later she found out that his plane disappeared in Alaska without finding any wreckage. In a photo, she saw her grandmother Ku inside a kaiju footprint and wanted to understand what she was doing there. Back in Kazakhstan, Ku and Lee descended to see the eggs. But suddenly, an earthquake occurred, causing the necks to hatch and various small kaijus resembling cockroaches began to emerge. The creatures swarmed around her leg, even though she shot at them. Now in Molina, in 1952, Lieutenant Shaw reported to his superior. Driving at high speed, Ku explained that she was investigating high levels of isotopes in the area which could indicate a Russian or American bomb. However, she was sure it wasn't a bomb, and that's why they were going to investigate. Kentaro tried to return to normal life. But the discovery about his father made him take a different turn. When he went to his father's office, he became upset, throwing things on the floor, making a mess. Opening one of the cabinets with the right key, he found a Monarch folder in it. There were enlistment files for Lee, who currently lived in a retirement home. In that year, Shaw and Ku were preparing for the reconnaissance mission when they heard something coming from the forest. It was a person filming the area, and for sure it seemed like a spy. Billy Ronda explained that he was a Navy veteran on a mission and asked Lieutenant Shaw not to shoot him. William in fact was a cryptozoologist who studied unknown or yet to be discovered animals. Cate didn't realize she was being followed in Tokyo. As she headed to the airport, Tim from Monarch appeared by her side. He tried to be friendly, saying he was American and harmless, but Cate avoided him in an attempt to deceive him with a phone call to escape. Cate was caught by the woman who was following her. They took her to the car and put a bag over her head, but this made her panic, remembering the Godzilla attack in San Francisco. This caused the driver to be distracted, resulting in an accident, flipping the car on the avenue. And Cate emerged unharmed, escaping from them. Cate went to the police station to file a kidnapping complaint, but the officer, seeing that she was a tourist, believed she had exaggerated due to drinking. However, Cate was not drunk and demanded answers. Seeing that the officer wouldn't be much help, she left. When Kentaro arrived home, he saw his mother removing photos of his father from the album to prevent her from going through more emotional problems. They started tearing up photos together, and then she said she was going to sleep. However, in the midst of those torn photos there was one of Lee, creating more doubts about who this person was. Back in the Philippines, Shaw was discussing local legends of an ionizing dragon with Billy, something Shaw considered nonsense. Shaw, on the other hand, didn't want Billy interfering, so Ku dismissed Shaw to return to the base. While Ku and Billy continued in the forest, they discovered that they had the same map of the signal's path, which strengthened their search. Eventually they found a ship placed in the middle of the jungle, and Billy even knew its name. Meanwhile, Cate got lost in an alley in Japan and went to May's apartment. There she discovered that Monarch people were tampering with the girl's computer when May and Cate left without being seen. Tim from Monarch went to Kentaro's house looking for the files. Sensing possible hostility, Kentaro's mother gave a photo and asked him to return the files. But it was all part of a plan. Tim saw a photo of his father and Kentaro took advantage of it to escape. They only managed to find the empty briefcase. Back in the Philippines, Billy revealed that he knew the ship Platel that sank in 1943 in Pearl Harbor over 8,000 kilometers away. Inside, he began recording the ship. However, Billy found his belongings that were on that ship, recounting that at the time the ship sank he was one of the crew members. And it seemed like something had grabbed the ship. He was the sole survivor of that attack. Lee and the Jeep saw a strange light in the sky and decided to return to the scientists. On the ship, Billy and Ku found the decomposing bodies that didn't make sense since the ship should have sunk 9 years ago. When they returned to the corridor, they saw the saliva of something strange that had passed through. Back on the ship, Billy and Ku finally discovered what was inside the place. It was a huge creature that wanted to catch them. Bill ended up getting trapped in the debris. Shaw's arrival was crucial to rescue them in time, escaping before the ship almost crushed everyone. However, upon exiting, they indeed saw what was inside. It was a flying kaiju. May and Cate found Kintaro and they were unsure of what to do, whether to hand over the files or escape. The youngsters decided to track down Colonel Shaw, who lived in a retirement homes. When they introduced themselves, Shaw was surprised to see Hiroshi's children, who barely knew each other. However, as there were many cameras there, they went outside for some fresh air and Shaw revealed himself to be their great uncle. While they were talking, May discovered that the place was fully monitored by Monarch and Shaw was there wearing an ankle monitor for discovering information about them. Shaw revealed that even if they tried to escape they would be pursued. However, he cut off his ankle monitor and threw it into the lake, deciding to escape from Monarch's prison.